keeping up with our motto, let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure. Here we are with a remote teaching and learning process to bridge the gap. Happy learning, students.
Welcome students of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College. Students, today we are going to begin on chapter number 10, which is Magnetic Effect Due to the Electric Current Part 1. In this chapter, you will be studying how the magnetic fields are produced by an electric current, and the important foundation for the further developments will also be laid down. To name a few scientists, I would be naming Hans Christian Ørsted, who first discovered the magnetic field, which is produced by an electric current passing through a wire. Later, Gauss, Henry, Faraday, and others showed that the magnetic field is an important partner of electric field. This resulted into several practical applications in our day-to-day life. For example, electrical motors, generators, communication systems, and computers. Students, you have learned in 10th standard that if a magnetic needle is held in a close proximity of a current carrying wire, it shows the direction of the magnetic field circling around the wire. Now, this is the instance what I am talking about, which you could see in the figure 10.2 shown out here, that is the right hand thumb rule. Let me explain you what is right hand thumb rule. Imagine that a current carrying wire is grabbed with your right hand with the thumb pointing in the direction of the current. Then your fingers curl around in the direction of the magnetic field. Let us talk about the figure 10.3, which is showing you the two wires, that is a wire 1 and a wire 2. Now, how one can account for the force on the neighboring current carrying wire? The magnetic field due to the current in the wire 1 at any point on the wire 2 is directed into the plane of the paper, which you could see out here in the figure 10.3. Therefore, we can conclude that the electrons flow in a direction opposite to the conventional current. Then the wire 2 experiences a force capital F towards the wire 1. Now let us go through the explanation of the above diagrams. Imagine that a current carrying wire is grabbed with your right hand with the thumb pointing in the direction of the current. Then your fingers curl around in the direction of the magnetic field. Magnetic force. The magnetic force capital F on an electron with a charge minus e is moving with a velocity v in a magnetic field, that is capital B, is given by the formula Fm is equal to minus e multiplied by v into b. So in general, for a charge q, the magnetic force will be Fm is equal to q multiplied by v into b. So in both the electric field, that is the capital E, and the magnetic field, that is the capital B, are present. The net force on the charge q moving with the velocity v is given by the formula capital F is equal to small q multiplied by E plus, again a summation of V plus B. Therefore, I could conclude on that F is equal to Fe plus Fm. The justification for this law can be found in the experiments such as the one described in the figure 10.1a and b, and the force described in the figures is known as the Lorentz force, where Fe is the force due to the electric field and Fm is the force due to the magnetic field respectively. Now we come across this figure 10.4, which is showing you the cross product, which is in the direction of a unit vector perpendicular to both V and B. Students, in the diagram you could see that the upward pointing arrow is nothing but a product of V multiplied by B, where V is the velocity and B is the magnetic induction. Now the two downward arrows towards the left hand side is indicating the capital V, and towards the right hand side is indicating the capital B. Let us consider that this is based on the consequences of the Lorentz force law. If the velocity v of a charged particle is parallel to the magnetic field B, then the magnetic force becomes zero. And if the charge is stationary, then the velocity v value turns out to be zero and the magnetic induction is not equal to zero. So when I consider the vectors v and b with a certain angle between them, which you could see in the figure out here, the product, that is v into b, will be a vector perpendicular to the plane containing the vectors v and b. Thus, I can indicate that v and f are always perpendicular to each other. Hence, the dot product of f multiplied by v is going to be equal to 0. This diagram, showing a circle indicating the two arrows in the x and y axis, indicates you the charged particle moving in a magnetic field. Students, suppose if I consider a magnetic field and a charged particle typically undergoing a circular motion. The figure is showing you a uniform magnetic field directed perpendicular into the plane of the paper, that is parallel to the negative z-axis. Therefore, from the diagram, it is shown that a particle with a charge q is moving with a speed v, and a uniform magnetic field, that is the capital B, is directed into the plane of the paper. So according to the Lorentz law as written out here, the magnetic force on the particle will act towards the center of the circle of radius r, and this force will act towards the center of a circle of radius r, that is capital R. This force will provide the centripetal force to sustain. Therefore, a uniform circular motion could be given out by the formula QVB is equal to mv square upon r, where mv square upon r is nothing but the centripetal force acting on it. Therefore, I could come out to the formula that mv is equal to p momentum, which is equal to q multiplied by b multiplied by r. This describes the circular motion of a charged particle in a particle accelerator, that is cyclotron, which is going to be explained in the next slide. As I have mentioned you that the particle accelerators have played a very key role in providing a high energy, that is milli-electron volt, to the giga-electron volt. The particle beams are useful in studying the particle matter interaction, and some of these are also useful in the medical treatment of certain tumors and diseases. Students, cyclotron is a charged particle accelerator, accelerating the charged particles to the higher energies. It was invented by the scientists Loren and Livingston in the year 1934, and basically it is used for the study of the nuclear structure. Let us talk about this diagram. Students, you could see that there are two Ds, two semicircles given out by D1 and D2. Whereas you could see a small w, that is a window, which is showing you that these Ds are interconnected with a small gap in between. It is connected to a AC, that is the alternating current. At the center, there is a particle P which is forming nothing but the ion source. Therefore, this represents you a schematic diagram of a cyclotron with the two Ds. A uniform magnetic field capital B is perpendicular to the plane of the paper coming outwards, which can't be shown on the two-dimensional analysis. The ions are injected into the D at the point P, and an alternating voltage is supplied to the Ds. Therefore, the entire assembly is placed in a vacuum chamber. Let's come on to the next topic, that is helical motion. So far, it has been assumed that the charged particle moves in a plane perpendicular to the magnetic field capital P. But if such a particle has some component of the velocity parallel to the B, then it leads to nothing but a helical motion. In the students, you could see is z-axis, a y-axis, and a x-axis. Since this is a two-dimensional figure, I cannot show you the three-dimensional arrangement of it, but it is very much clear or evident that the particle is moving out with the two velocities, that is v1 and v2, pointed along, coming out in the third dimension and making a spiral around. So it is in the form of a spring. Let us understand this with the explanatory part of it. Students, a helical motion is nothing but a charged particle which moves in a plane perpendicular to the magnetic field B, as we have seen in the diagram earlier. If such a particle has the same component of velocity parallel to the magnetic induction B, then the magnetic force Fm will be Fm equals V1 multiplied by B, which is in turn written as V multiplied by sine 0, which gives you the value as 0. Thus, the V is parallel will not be affected and the particle will move along the direction of the B. At the same time, the perpendicular component of the velocity leads to a circular motion. Thus, the helical motion tells us that at the same time, the perpendicular component of the velocity as well as the parallel component, that is the field B, will be moving along a circular path perpendicular to B, and this path in turn takes a form of a helix. Therefore, this is termed as nothing but helical motion. Let us now move to the last two concepts, that is a magnetic force on a wire carrying a current. Students, in this diagram, here you could see that a straight wire of the length L is shown in the figure. An external magnetic field with a capital B is applied perpendicular to the wire coming out of the plane of the paper. So let a current I flow through it, and the wire is under an applied potential difference. That potential difference is given by Vd. So when we talk about that, if Vd is the drift velocity of the conduction, the electrons move in the direction which is pointing towards the perpendicular distances. Let us talk about this in a detailed manner which is given in the further explanation. The first instance, that is the magnetic force on a wire carrying a current, could be explained as follows. Consider a straight length of the wire, capital L, placed in an external field, capital B. Let the current, capital I, flow through the wire, and the potential difference applied would be PdV. If capital V is the drift velocity of the conduction electrons in the part of the length capital L, then I would represent the current which is flowing as Q equals IT, and the magnetic force which is acting on the wire is given by capital F is equal to small q multiplied by V multiplied by B. So when we try to represent the force which is acting, my Fm is written as ILB multiplied by Vd sine theta multiplied by N. Now this could be in turn written as ILKB sine 90, which is written as ILB sine 90. If small n is a unit vector perpendicular to the wire, then the formula Fm is equal to ILB, where K and capital L is the length vector along the portion of the length of the wire. So this represents you nothing but the straight wire which is showing you the current flowing across it. Well, students, we begin on with arbitrarily shaped wire. Now this shaped wire is irregular. You could see in the diagram, consider a segment of infinitesimal length D along the wire. If I is the magnetic force due to the perpendicular magnetic field which is given, we can consider this segment as of infinitesimal length dl along the wire, which you could see in the diagram. If I have to write down the formula, students, I would be considering that small force is equal to capital I multiplied by dl multiplied by b, which you could see in the formula specified in the box below the diagram. So if capital B is uniform over the whole wire, then my formula could be written as F is equal to I integral of dl multiplied by b. So this completes the topic which is showing you the magnetic force acting on an arbitrarily shaped wire. Students, let us move to the assignment questions which are mentioned out here. Explain the right hand rule. What do you understand by the cyclotron accelerator? With a neat label diagram of cyclotron, explain the working of a cyclotron. What is helical motion? Derive the magnetic force on a wire carrying a current in both the situations, which we have discussed right now, that is in a straight wire as well as in arbitrarily shaped wire. For the reference e-text, the mentioned link is given out here. Go through the links which are mentioned in the textbook also. Try to understand the concepts thoroughly and make your notes in a systematic manner. Thank you, students.